Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Let's Talk Live podcast. It's Sunday evening. I had an earlier show today at 3 p.m., but now we're at the 8 o'clock show. It's Sunday evening, July 23rd, 2023, and this is episode 38. I want to welcome everybody into the room. The chat should fill in as we go. New intro. Do you like the new intro? If you liked the new intro, drop a 1 in the chat. If you're watching this live, feel free to chat along in the live chat. But if you're catching this on replay, go down in that comment section and put in a hashtag replay. I really would appreciate it. But we're going to get back on the subject of Carlee Russell this evening. And the reason I want to go back to this is the case that is just gripping America right now and is getting talked about just about every moment that I look up and read through articles and such. I want to get this evening to JLR actually was down in Alabama where Carlee Russell lives and came across some very interesting information, kind of traveling the route that she may have took, pulling off to that side of the road near that highway sign and off into those woods. So I want to go through those videos, and then Court TV has an amazing video that they came out with talking about some recent hoaxes that we've seen over the last 20 years that have caused some major controversy. Now, I don't know if Carlee Russell is someone that is, a hoax, searching for attention. We don't know if she has any type of mental illness. We may never know that. But we know so far as her strange activity and what happened on that evening. So I want to pull up a latest article that I saw here, and this just dropped about an hour ago. Carlee Russell's latest: boyfriend begs public to stop bullying Alabama woman amid abduction hoax claims. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here and get to the article. So Carlee Russell's boyfriend has pled with the public to stop cyberbullying the Alabama nurse student among mounting suspicion she faked her own abduction. I know what it seems like what she did. Just stop bullying. Just stop bullying on social media, Tamara Luttrell Simmons told the New York Post. I think about her mental health. She doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves to be cyberbullied. Miss Russell, 25, told police she was kidnapped after stopping to help a toddler in diapers walking along Interstate 459 on the evening of July 13th. Police arrived 5 minutes later to find her red Mercedes still running and her cell phone, wallet, and wig in the car. She said a man with orange hair held her captive for 2 days before she was able to escape and return to her parents' home in Hoover on foot. However, Alabama police have expressed doubts over Miss Russell's abduction claims and revealed she appeared to have suspicious internet searches after kidnapping prior to the incident. Hoover Police Chief Nick, I think it's Derez, I'm probably wrong on that, so I'm sorry if I misspoke, said during a press conference on Wednesday that the investigators were unable to verify her statements, and she has since refused a second interview. Let's see. Carlee Russell sent several bizarre tweets before disappearing. Actually, let's see here. Carlee Russell sent several bizarre tweets before disappearing. Before a 25-year-old Carlee Russell disappeared for 49 hours, she posted a series of bizarre tweets. On the day she went missing on July 13th, she tweeted at 8:55 p.m., "Today was a great day. God be looking out, I'm telling you." 1 minute later, Miss Russell wrote, someone to tell you I love you and don't got a reason. Finally, she tweeted, "Yeah, I want a family now," at 9:19 p.m. Just moments later, around 9:30, the Alabama woman called 911 and told detectives that she was following a lost toddler along the interstate. After she returned home, Ms. Russell claimed she was abducted by a man with orange hair. She turned up on foot at her parents' house with $107 tucked in her right sock and she alleged that she barely survived the encounter. The parents of Russell, 25-year-old Alabama woman, and disappeared 48 hours, reporting that she spotted a child on the side of the highway, have spoken out for the first time since their daughter returned. We tried to hug as best as we could, and I had to stand back because she was not in a good state. Let's see. So we had to stand back and let the medical professionals work on her. While Miss Russell was reported safe, mysteries still swirl around what happened in the 2 days. Police have since shared their doubt about her claims, suggesting that her internet search indicates that she may have staged her own kidnapping. So I'm not going to go too much into this article here, because I know we all know kind of the background, what's going on with Carlee Russell. But what I wanted to do, and I praised JLR the other night about, boots on the ground reporting, and he's been doing a fantastic job. He was just out in Idaho reporting there, gave us some brand new film of the King Road house, some brand new video of the King Road house. And DJ was on the panel last night, and we actually pulled that up and walked it through and gave us, just kind of what was going on in that area right now at this time. It's got to be probably the most updated video that we've seen so far. The man's a hustler. He left Idaho and he went to Hoover, Alabama, and he's been investigating the Carlee Russell case. So I thought this was very interesting. I thought this is a great video to go through, and I want you all to see what he found off where she pulled off to the side of the road. And it just, to me, it makes it seem, and this is just my speculation, that this could have been staged and planned. All right, let's play here and see what.
At I-459, right there at the Hoover exit 10 sign, and right next to where her vehicle was found was a trail that I found that takes you to a tunnel that goes under the interstate, under Interstate 459. Watch this video right here. Wow.
You like the new intro? Great. I worked on that in between my 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock show now. Leave your DNA here. That's great. Laura's in the house. Hi, Laura. How are you? Good to see you over here. Laura's modding along. Kelly's in the house. DJ's in the house. Says, I'm referring to the state, not the show. Brian should cover this because it brings awareness to mental health. Absolutely. Donna's here. Bonnie's here as well. Yeah, the tunnel's crazy if you haven't seen this. And JLR did a great video here. Jelly's in the house as well, from Australia. Let's speed this up a little bit. I can't believe he went down to the woods here. He just fucking parked his car and that's it. Bye. That's great. Really good stuff. There's my Nightbot. He just pieced out and went in the woods. But this is great. I mean, this gives you a possible route that Carlee could have taken. And I want to see if they go back and look and see if they find footage of her pulling over maybe a couple of weeks or months before and going down into the wooded area here to maybe scout all this out. And you'll see all the different ways that you can come in and out of here when he gets through this tunnel and up to this top of this hill here. But it makes a lot of sense. Look at this trail. There's a trail here. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had the ability to do it. I would need I need a lot of money to do what he's doing. We got to get that subscriber count up. That's gonna. I'll be able to quit my job when I get to about 50,000 subscribers. Yeah, that'll be great, right? Some guy in the middle of nowhere parked off the side of the road wielding a machete around. Yeah, that won't be good.
All right, so right before
excuse me,
this sign right here,
my video is
this Hoover sign, half mile to
Is the video
Hoover
look
exit
choppy? The
10. There
playback?
is a trail. There's a trail that goes down. No, I haven't went down that trail, but I am out here. She coasted, and then
We just kind of
stopped
did that coast.
right around here. Flash, but there is a trail. There's a gully go down there, and then there's a trail, as you see. So now I haven't seen any other types of trails over here.
He's just ruthless.
Let's check it out.
Well, probably what he did
was
went to Google Earth and got over that area, and you probably can see this down in that area. That's something that I haven't done, and that's actually probably a pretty good idea.
The general area.
Let's see.
Now
Exit what? I'll work on that. What? Exit 10. Let me see if
Flash,
I can find
but there
it
is a
Google
trail.
Earth.
There's a gully go down there, and then there's a trail, as you see. So now I haven't seen any other types of trails over here.
Let me see.
Let's check it out. This is the general area. I mean, it starts going down a hill. What's going on here, people? To me, that trail there is very suspect. So I'm actually going to walk down this trail and see where it goes, because it's quite possible that
like
the car
what? Like
stopped
Hansel
here,
and Gretel,
right
the
by
breadcrumbs.
and
It's like breadcrumbs.
Carlee went down this trail.
Holy shit! Imagine if he went in there and he found a box of Cheez-Its or like a pile of Cheez-Its. I would shit myself.
Quite possible.
Imagine that.
Where's this trail go?
I'm trying to find exits on Google Earth. But what was that? What's that? 494
Definitely a trail. And then it turns into like a concrete. Look at this. See, it's a trail. Wow. Right by that sign is a trail. I am out here looking into this. Could this have been the escape route of Carlee? Could this have been the escape route? It goes right up here to right where that sign is. Hoover, half mile, exit 10. She was parked right by there. Could have this been the escape route?
This is crazy.
Looks like, see, it's like,
I tell you,
people probably know about this.
Oh, and by the way,
we'll see where it goes.
We'll
see where it ends up.
Subscribers today. I'm really happy for him. He's killing it. Good for him. Sorry, I'm working on trying to find that exit, and I want to get over that on Google Earth. I'm just gonna find out what direction I'm going in here.
Yeah, it goes in back of a house. Wow. We're going to keep going. There's houses back here. Oh, wow. It goes even to a bigger trail. It's like an escape route.
Up, guys. It's weird.
And there's fences there to homes. Oh, wow. Look what we got here. We got a tunnel. Got a tunnel.
Great. Good stuff.
We got pipes. Look at this. Fencing there, houses back there, but you got fences.
It's unturned. That's great. Yeah, he's been killing it, man. He's doing a good job. He just hit 60,000 today. I'm really happy for him. You got to be happy.
What we got here?
Just, they hustle.
We got a drainage tunnel.
I know this.
That goes all the way on the other side of the interstate. Look at this. It goes all the way down. Definitely, there's not much water. Definitely somebody could, here, let me just go down a little bit. I can definitely walk. If I want to go all the way to the end, I can definitely go. There's just hardly little trickles of water. That will take you onto the other side of the interstate. And then this goes up this way. So this is very interesting. Right here, there is some flyers left here. There is some flyers left here for Carlee Russell.
Wow, look at this.
In this area. And there is a tunnel. I'm going to take you onto the other side of the tunnel.
Wow, this is pretty crazy.
I'm going to walk it.
This guy.
Walk this other side of the tunnel.
Going for
all the way on the other end is the interstate. I am going under I-459 right now.
It's pretty good.
Going all the way under. Anyone could go all the way under through this tunnel. Anyone. And there's just very limited water. I feel...
I'm going to speed this up a little bit and get through this tunnel because I don't think we need to walk.
Right now, I'm probably in the middle.
Let's see.
All right, made it across. What's going on over here? What is this? Now, I just want to show you that the interstate is up there. Now, just to show you, I just want to go back up here just to show you. This looks like water runoffs and concrete. Oh, no, actually, now I'm in the middle of the interstate. So that is the southbound lane. And then you go under again. And that is the northbound lane. So I just want to show you real quick.
I'm going to speed up a little bit here.
Going up here, avoided this tunnel. So the sign is right there. That's the sign. That's the sign where I started at.
So he came.
So this is the other side.
Under the interstate.
Right over there.
It's crazy.
And then there's the exit right up there, exit 10. What's going on here? Now it's possible, car right there, that instead of going under the tunnel, which I just did, that she could have ran across here and went down here. Hit this concrete and then worked her way down to this elaborate tunnel system. Knowing that this is all here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on, even go on to the other side. Now going to go under the tunnel in the northbound lane and see what the other side takes us.
I'm going to speed up and just go
where this goes. Tunnel. Went this way. Now I'm in the center and follow the concrete up. I'm going to see where this takes me.
I apologize if the feed is chopped.
Retracing the steps of Carlee. Did she walk away on foot? That is the question. What I'm about to do is approach the northbound lanes.
How's the feed look? It looks choppy.
Of I-459.
Is the video feed choppy though? It looks choppy to me on my.
Here it is. Now I'm going to cross over the road as soon as the traffic clears.
Yeah, it's choppy. I wonder what's going on.
To show you.
Actually, it's not bad.
Maybe there's another. I guess, again, this is for storm runoff.
The video is choppy.
Was she waiting here for was a car waiting for her?
Let me do this. I'm gonna try to let's see if I can try to fix that. Hang on 1 second. Let's see if this fixes it.
I guess, again, this is for storm runoff.
Sometimes the video gets choppy. Yeah, it looks choppy.
Was she waiting here?
I'm sorry.
Was a car waiting for her? Vehicle.
It looks good on my phone, but I think
that is a good question
that
too.
might have cleaned it up a little bit.
As soon as traffic clears here, and it's very, very busy, I'm going to try to attempt to go across and see where I can find.
That looks a little better. I can see it now.
As soon as I can get across. I don't think I'm going to be able to cross, so I'm going to have to try to get on that other side some other way. It's just too much traffic. It just keeps coming,
you'll get killed.
I'm sure it wasn't like that at night at all. I try my best.
All right,
to cross.
so essentially, he found this tunnel and this path, and then he went up to another area too, which is very interesting. And this too, his eyes look crazy here.
He reaches and investigates. I am on top of a hill, directly across from I-459, where Carlee
Yeah, this looks a little better.
Red Mercedes was left on the side of the interstate, right around that sign that said Hoover, exit 10, half mile.
So this is interesting because at the top of this hill, I think he's going to point to the north direction, and he said that her parents' house is literally about 2 miles through these woods. I bet you, she walked that trek and went straight to her parents' house.
Was right directly across from the interstate right here. That is my current location. Now, why am I over here directly across on the other side of the interstate? Well, down here a little bit is a tunnel, and a tunnel takes you right across to where her car was. And once you get across this tunnel, then you come up on this big giant hill that overlooks everything, which is very, very interesting.
So that's him getting through that tunnel, coming up on the other side and coming up on this hill or berm. Well, I wouldn't say it's a berm. It's more like probably close to a mountain.
I'm just wondering if Carlee
is dropped. If any approved
over
people would like to join the panel
under that tunnel
I know
at night and made her way over on this side.
Feel free if you want to jump on.
Which her home is about 2 miles that way. A lot of trees, a lot of opportunities to hide, obscure yourself. Toilet paper that was taken from her job.
Yep.
A robe. She went to Target.
He's right.
Cheez-Its, granola bars. Was her goal here to ditch the car, go down that trail, go under the tunnel, and make her way eventually back to her
DJ.
home. That's a very good possibility. Or it was somebody out here waiting for her.
What's up, dude?
Hey, man.
What do you think, man? It's pretty good investigating, right?
Yeah, he's like I said, he's tenacious, man. I love it. No one's
Fuck.
given us this perspective. No one.
No, man, he's fucking like, I'm just gonna walk through the woods and we're gonna do this and see what happens. I mean,
Dude, I want to do this. We should do
yeah, I
this
mean,
together on a case, man.
the thing that's crazy is like,
Split the cost for a room.
yeah,
Yeah, we can
the
go
thing
out there
that's
and
really,
kill it, bro.
yeah, the thing that's really good about it and cool about it is that we would never see this perspective from, from news organization. Like mainstream media is just going to go out there, have their still cam near that exit, but they're not going to go through the woods. So we're seeing the perspective from the first responders that went out that night. And I guarantee you, bro, and you know this because you've been in the field, that they started putting this all together just like JLR was and saying, hey, something's not adding up here,
Exactly.
Good stuff, though.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't checked out this video about the tunnel, I strongly recommend you do.
Good stuff, though.
Yeah. Now, if you haven't checked out. So I am out here. What's going on here? What is going on? This is right around Hoover, Alabama. Carlee, Russell, it's a mystery. I'm going to spin the camera around and just show you how high up this is. And this is like right by her car. Car was like right over there. And if you see up here, what also is interesting is there is.
Yeah, right. And Tsunami makes a great point.
Right. Yeah, I'd be interested to know if she grew up in the house that she was in with her parents, and maybe, I mean, because it's a tough pill to swallow to think that she pulled over on the side of that highway and knew where that trail was. Now, an easier way to get me to swallow that pill would be to believe that she wandered those woods as a kid, maybe with friends, and she knew where that trail was. Just something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, because considering he's going to say it here, she's only about 2 miles from this area. So, I mean, look, people come up here. He's proving the point. People come up here. I wouldn't be surprised that night that if she didn't come up here and sit in those very chairs.
She might have. We could get DNA off of them.
We could get DNA off it. Yes.
And then this road here. There's a road here.
As long as there's not a knife sheath there, then everything won't, be so controversial.
Right. What a view, though.
That takes you
rest area? Is that what that is?
Around and then it's down
like a road. It's
by a Toyota dealership.
Huh.
And her house, Carlee's parents' house, is probably about 2 miles that way. Very, very interesting.
As a crow flies 2 miles.
Right.
I mean, she'd have to, honestly, man. When I was a kid, I worked as a land surveyor in the summer. I was a lifeguard and I worked as a land surveyor. My girlfriend in high school, her dad owned a land surveying company. And we used to have to do what's called cutting line. So to find,
I know what that is.
To find land, to run a lot line, you got to run a theodolite, turn angles, do all this stuff. And then you set a lath every 100 feet and you stay in line. And you go out and you set a rod. You would have to cut a line through those woods. And I'm telling you, a lady in the pitch of dark going through those woods, just imagine the terror that would be. So I'm telling you, something's not right with this lady. Her mental state, there's something. She had some kind of a breakdown to go through those woods. It was an act of desperation. I don't know if it's because of what happened at work and she's in a paranoid state and she's just doing damage control and trying to figure out a way out. But I don't think there's anything nefarious here, like it was planned, because that whole coasting bit down the side of the roadway was her constructing her story. She was biding time. She was constructing her story.
No,
in my opinion.
I'm going to disagree with you.
That's fine.
I think she did plan and knew this area. I mean, let's just backtrack and go back a little bit. You said if she wandered these woods as a kid, it would make sense if she knew where this is.
Sense to me. That would absolutely change my mind. And I'm just saying either way.
We can only speculate. Yeah, we can only speculate. But and I'm trying to remember. Did they say you left? And maybe the chat can remind me. Did they say she left her phone behind, or she kept her phone with her? She had her phone
She
with
left
her.
her phone on the ground. Her phone was found on the ground, if I remember right, by the car, wasn't it?
Yeah, someone let me know in the chat. Did they say that they found it? Because the only reason I'm saying that is the only probably available flashlight she would have had would be on her phone. So she wandered this area in the dark, which lead me to believe that she's probably been out here before. She
Yeah,
had to have known
yeah.
this area.
And that's why I put out there that if she wandered those woods as a kid and she knew that trail and she maybe came to that sign where she was parked by on the
Sure.
side of the road, and that trail, that fire trail, that drainage fire trail, because
Yep.
that's what that is. It's a drainage trail, but it's also a fire trail. So if they have a fire in those woods,
They can get out quick. Yeah.
the fire department knows those fire trails, and they can get equipment in there and fight the fire easier.
Yeah.
So she may very well. Yeah, you're right. I'm not saying either.
Sure.
I'm not saying either way. I'm
Right.
just saying, playing devil's advocate. If she didn't,
Yep.
if she didn't plan this, then I mean, it would make sense that she's having a breakdown.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
would take somebody with balls to walk through those woods at night.
Oh, of
just in my
course.
opinion.
Yeah.
Pardon
All
me.
right, let's play. Yeah. That's good. Let's play. Let's see what he's got here. Let's go back.
Something like scenic in a sense. So maybe that's a possibility. Maybe not. But I think she walked away from that vehicle.
This is true too. Yeah, pen light.
Possible she went under the tunnel or across the interstate where the tunnel is.
Yeah, and Daniel makes a good point. Danielle makes a good point that, you know, she just went through a breakup. She's broke up with a boyfriend. She probably just lost her job. She's needing attention badly.
Eventually.
So mind you thinks that she thinks this was planned as well. I'm gonna start a new poll at the top. So I just had one up there. Everybody said, do you think Carlee, do you think Carlee should be in trouble for what she claims? 95% said yes, 4% no. I'm gonna put a new poll up there.
I'm in that 4%, and the only reason I'm in that 4% is I don't think criminally. I think civilly she should be held accountable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's only because I'm it's kind of the tender side of me is saying that she's got some mental issues. That's all.
Could be. Yeah, and you know, but it, you know, the cost to bring first responders out there, the search parties, you know, all the resources that were put into it. And I think I might be wrong, and maybe the chat can let me know, but I think the reason people up in arms over this is I believe there was either a police officer or a firefighter that was lost that night, meaning that they lost their life. And I think this is what really pissed a lot of people off, where, you know, they could have been tending to this particular person.
Oh yeah, they were spending resources for nothing, basically.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's.
I may be wrong on that. If someone can let me know in the chat, but I think I heard a story about that as well.
JLR investigates. So I'm going to go down this hill here to the tunnel where it goes under 459, I-455, and Carlee's car was right there. So come take a walk with me.
CJ thinks that she knew exactly where she was going through those woods. Yeah, we've kind of seen all this. There's a lake here. Let's see.
Yeah, she probably, you know, depending on how long she lived in the house, she probably wandered those woods.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, Stephanie says that there was a firefighter that passed away that night, so that's horrible. So he's just kind of showing what's down in that area. Nothing really groundbreaking here.
So this pond or lake, whatever you want to call it, is directly on the opposite side of I-459 where her car was left. A lot of woods here. I'm going to show you right on the map where exactly I am.
Her car and me. Okay. So he's went under that tunnel, came out on the other side. Right, I'm going to go back to the tunnel and see what he says when he comes out here. kind of like wandering the woods like Hansel and
She out in the
Gretel,
woods
right?
here for 48 hours before she returned home. Where is the spa robe? Where is the Cheez-Its? Where is the granola bars? Where are they?
Bro, imagine if you went out there and you found like a granola bar wrapper. That'd be crazy.
Right?
Finding those posters was crazy.
So let me know what you think. Back up here on top of the tunnel, I took you down the hill to it looked like a pond or a lake, shown you the tunnel where it's believed that Carlee possibly went through to reach this other side. Right here, I took you down through the woods a little bit.
All right, nothing really groundbreaking the rest of the video. So yeah, I mean, JLR, boots on the ground, really, smashing that algorithm. He just hit 60,000 subscribers today. I only hope that I can get a piece of that someday. But he's really, firsthand reporting. It's always good. And it's cool because, like I said, we're getting the view that we normally would not get from the media. That is what the view would be for when the first responders showed up that night and started to walk those woods looking for Carlee. So really good boots on the ground reporting. What do you think, DJ?
I'm impressed. I'm impressed
Cool.
with the guy.
All right. So
thank you, JLR.
Yeah, absolutely. We need more people like you that have, the cojones to get out there and do this stuff. And it's my dream, it's my dream one day to do this and get out just like he is and visit all these places. But I'm a little ways away, but hopefully someday. All right, we're gonna play this segment from Court TV. They came up with with this Carlee Russell story that's been out there. They came up with this segment about exposed hoaxes. We're gonna hear about Balloon Boy, Juicy Smoulier, like Dave Chappelle says, and talk a little bit about some crazy hoaxes over the last couple of years.
Dan, thank you so much for joining us here on Closing Arguments. Wow, through the years, we've come across quite a few hoaxes that I've covered. I mean, one of the most bizarre ones, and I was on the air for this as it was happening, was Balloon Boy.
Yep, I remember this. You remember this, Jay?
Do you remember Balloon Boy?
Oh, yeah, that was
yeah.
epic.
I couldn't believe this was happening, right? And I'm like, really? Like, there's a little boy in a balloon and he's flying across the country and we can't do anything and we're worried about him. It was insane, right? It was insane. And that was
inside the house.
I actually forgot about that case. That's
remember?
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Our family.
Anything for
and the poor little kid who was supposed to be in the balloon, wasn't in the balloon, spilled the beans live on television. It was quite a scenario. But that hoax a little different than some of the other ones that we've covered because
Juicy
that
Smoothie.
one,
the little boy blew the case.
At least they weren't.
What's that?
Didn't the little boy blow the case wide open?
Yeah, live on air, bro. Live
he just
on
made
air.
a spontaneous statement. Game over.
Game over. That's it.
Alleging a crime, right? They were just like, oh my goodness, the kid's in the balloon. Justice Smollett.
Yeah.
He was alleging a hate crime. A hate crime. I mean, with props and everything, with the noose around his neck, and he fooled a lot of people.
See, the thing that just really bothers me about this particular case is that, faking these types of serious crimes, hate crimes, which are the ultimate, most serious thing that anybody could deal with their entire life, and that this guy thought it would be a good idea to get some attention on himself and fake a hate crime. And the thing, what happens is when cases or people do things like this, when someone is in a real situation that this happens to, and I hope no one is ever in a situation, anybody that watches this video or this show is ever put in that particular type of situation. But, this fucks up investigations and, it creates doubt in real situations. And this was a heinous, disgusting act by this individual. And, I don't think that he got enough. I just don't think he got enough.
I don't think either. And I'm not going to even go there because it would probably piss people off what I would say. But you can imagine what I'm thinking right now, but I'm not going to say it just because. But yeah, it's spending resources like they did for this case. You have officers responding code 3 to get to that location. Lives are put at risk. The officers' lives, and not only the officers' lives, but citizens' lives by, vehicles traveling in excess of 100 miles an hour to get there. So, I mean, we had a case here in Central Florida where it was he killed his girlfriend, and, it was a big case. It was all over the place. I can't think of the guy's name right now. Somebody else will probably hit it, but the responding officer was at a Walmart. They spotted him, and he wound up killing her. And then, there was all kinds of police responding to the scene. One of the officers responding to the scene was killed as a motorman. That's the kind of things that behind the scenes people don't think about, and they are important. Now, this lady, she does have criminal charges if the businesses want to pursue them. I mean, she stole allegedly a road, and I believe she stole money out of the till allegedly. So the state could potentially go after her for those charges, and then go after her for restitution and no pros anything else. That's what I think would be if it's found that she's got a minimal, because she's gonna, if she gets a good attorney is going to have her sign a HIPAA release form, and then they're going to bring, they're going to, at the grand jury, they're going to bring that in, and they're going to determine what her psyche was. And if a psychiatrist or psychologist deems that she was unstable and the state still pursues it, they're really overzealous, in my opinion. I don't see it happening. Hopefully it doesn't, if that's the case.
But just really quick before I start this video again, going back to what I call smoulier, I don't tolerate hate, and I don't tolerate people that make up fake hate crime stories. So it's just a disgusting thing overall. And like I said, I mean, it just infuriates me, and there just was not enough done, in my opinion.
Because as an actor and celebrity, you come to the table, I guess, with a little bit of credibility, because why on earth would you ever make something like that up? But he did. And we saw all of that unravel in front of our own eyes. I mean, some people were skeptical from the beginning. But when people come forward, you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? You don't presume that people are lying. And especially when the scenarios are so strange, like with Jussie Smollett, 2 o'clock in the morning, getting a Subway sandwich.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Right. I gotta grab
Sherry Papini.
Yep.
This,
no problem.
Perhaps the most elaborate hoax ever. Almost got away with it. Most elaborate hoax ever, that she was abducted,
I remember
branded,
this one.
put in chains. I mean, she was all in on it. But eventually, the truth sort of bubbled out there. But again, all those resources and everything else. I mean, these are people that are making it up, making up a crime, pretending to be the victim. Now, just recently, we've had this case involving this young man, Rudy Farias, and his mother. And mother reported him missing for like 8 years, but he wasn't missing at all. Like, we're still a little confused by this one, and still trying to piece it together. But from what we understand, is like he was with his mother the whole time. Strange. Like, why? How? And think about, the resources that go into the investigation and the attention that it gets, and whether you raise funds or do other things, there's attention being put on these cases that are not real cases. They're not real cases. These are people pretending to be the victim of a crime, and using the resources of investigators and the goodwill of the public. And it's a shame. So for those of you not familiar with the Jussie Smollett, Jerry Papini, and the Rudy Farias stories, we put this together for you so you get a better idea of what happened in these 3 confirmed hoaxes.
Jussie Smollett claimed he was the victim of a racist, homophobic attack at the hands of 2 white men on the streets of Chicago in 2019. Smollett claimed the men punched him, poured bleach on him, and tied a noose around his neck.
I worked with an artist, I don't really want to say his name, but he states that he went to Subway. He was walking by, and some guys, I don't know, they jumped him or something like that. And I just want to report it and make sure he's all right.
Do you want to take it off or anything? Yeah, I do. I just want to.
Bro, when I saw this, I was like,
While police were investigating the alleged attack, some people questioned the validity of the actor's claims. Jussie addressed the skepticism in a press conference.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one. I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of. This has been an incredibly difficult time, honestly one of the worst of my entire life. But I'm a man of faith, and I'm a man that has knowledge of my history, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this.
Chicago police found the two men involved in the attack. Two Nigerian brothers.
Bro, you're killing it over there, man. Channel's great. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Good, you do good work over there, man. Keep it going.
Who had worked with Smollett on the set of the show Empire. A month after Jussie's initial claim, he was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct and filing a false report. Smollett would take the hoax all the way to trial, where he was found guilty and sentenced to 150 days in jail.
It's not enough.
I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal.
In November 2016, California wife and mother of two, Sherry Papini, was reported missing after going for a job, only to miraculously reappear 3 weeks later.
At about 4:30 this morning, the Shasta County Sheriff's Office was notified
Ladies and gentlemen,
that Sherry had been located.
What's up,
We've also learned that Sherry was released by her captor on a rural road near Interstate 5 in Yolo County. She was bound with restraints, but was able to summon help from a passing motorist who then notified law enforcement.
Sherry told police she had been abducted and tortured by two masked Spanish-speaking women who kept her chained in a closet, held her at gunpoint, and branded her. Her husband Keith spoke to ABC News, holding back tears as he described being reunited with his wife.
I just ran past everybody and I
remember this.
Throw open the curtain and she was there in a bed in her poor face.
What's up, Doodle?
Yeah, because you know what?
And I just hugged her. I just held her.
What's up?
You know what? He was a suspect.
Her husband was, yeah.
So think about the torture that man went through.
Oh yeah.
All eyes were on him.
Yep.
That was horrible.
It's crazy.
The investigation for her kidnapper spanned several years, but Sherry's story fell apart in 2020 when investigators connected DNA from her clothing to an old boyfriend who admitted the kidnapping was a hoax.
So is that touch DNA or is that
That was probably some, never mind. Dried up flaky.
Dried up DNA?
Yeah, dried up flaky stuff.
We're not going to find it. The DNA came back to James Reyes. The DNA that was on you.
What is it? Non-powdered, what is it? Dehydrated milk?
James.
Pure protein.
Sherry pleaded guilty to charges of mail fraud and making false statements. She was sentenced to 1.5 years in prison. Houston teen Rudy Farias was reported missing by his mother, Janie Santana, in 2015. For 8 years, law enforcement officials, family members, and private investigators looked for Rudy. Then on June 29, 2023, Rudy was found asleep outside a church in Houston, Texas, and taken to the hospital. That's when police realized Rudy was never missing.
Rudy.
During the 8-year time frame where he was missing, investigators followed up on many tips, leads, collected evidence proving that Rudy was not missing during the 8-year period. Many of these facts included contacts and statements with relatives, friends, neighbors, and medical professionals. Rudy was recently identified as having previous HPD interactions, meaning that he made contact with patrol officers out on the street. However, during these contacts, fictitious names and date of births were given, misleading the officers, and Rudy would remain missing. In fact, both Janie, Rudy's mother, and Rudy himself gave fictitious names while interacting with various patrol officers. After investigators talked with him yesterday, it was discovered that Rudy returned home the following day on March 8th, 2015.
Oh, Rudy, you've
Mother
been a bad
Janie
boy.
continued to deceive police by remaining adamant that Rudy was still missing. She alleged her nephew was a person friends and family were seen coming and going. However, we disputed that.
Why? Why do they do it? Why on
Sensationalism.
earth do they do it? Joining us tonight in Los Angeles, California, senior reporter for DailyMail.com, the host of Daily Mail Crime on TikTok and victim advocate for Project Cold Case, Caitlin Becker.
Caitlin's a great
also
reporter.
Los Angeles clinical and forensic neuropsychologist and associate professor at Pepperdine University, Dr. Judy Ho. Great to see you both. Caitlin, was it clear at any point in the Jussie Smollett case what happened, why he did it? Because he still doesn't admit that he did it, right?
It's never been clear as to why he did it, why he stuck with his rationale for so long, why he fought it tooth and nail, why he gave that ridiculous interview to Robin Roberts. And as you said, he still maintains his version of the story is the correct.
Go ahead.
I know why he did it.
Go ahead.
Because he was going to lose his slot on the show.
Yeah.
And that's why he did it.
It was
to gain attention, to get notoriety, to maintain his spot on the show. It's 100% why he did it. If anybody thinks it isn't the reason, then they're off the rocker.
So I heard there was reports of money issues, and also that he had been acting up a lot, like kind of being like a super over diva on set.
A prima donna.
And they were kind of getting like fed up with it. And that's basically what led him down this path to do.
He wanted more money, and they told him to go pound sand.
Right. Essentially, yeah.
So then he's stepped on his what.
Yep.
And they were phasing him out of the show. And the reason why he did this is one. And you know what the sad thing is? It's like these other creators doing what they do. People, some of these shows, these talk shows, still got his back.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was unbelievable to me.
Well, you know what it is? It's because it's Trump. That's why. It's the hate for Trump, and it was all about that whole, hey, MAGA, whatever. And I'm not going to repeat.
And it's a double standard.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat the language that was used. I'm sure you all know what he said, that supposedly these mysterious people that came out of the at the -2-degree cold and threw bleach all over him and nooses and ropes and all that stuff.
It's just tears on. He's a talented actor. I'll give him that much.
Ridiculous story. But it's just because of the whole political atmosphere at that point too. Trump was so hyper polarized. You had people on one side that were extreme supporters of him, and you had people on the other side that extremely hated him.
Well, Hollywood hates Trump.
Of course.
So he's in Hollywood. So he's going to get,
Yeah, and he thought that this would just be an easy way to go, oh my God, just what a way to just spin this most craziest narrative. It's just,
and he got smacked on the wrist.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Now that guy should be in jail.
Yeah. That was a lot of resources. He faked a hate crime, which is unbelievable. He faked a hate crime. Faked it.
Filing a false police report.
People see more jail time for filing fake police reports.
Yeah.
And this guy faked a hate crime. Unbelievable.
Story, but the two brothers who the cops figured out were the ones who had attacked him. The second they got into interrogation, they told the truth of the entire story, as they should have. There's no reason these two individuals should have gone.
Slurs that were thrown, that he said that were thrown at him as well. And we won't get into the language. It's just stupid.
On down for perpetrating an attack that did not happen. As to why he did it, this was kind of in the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, which of course is still going on to this day. It was in the height of all of those protests amid George Floyd. And actually, I think that might have happened even before that. But I think as you heard him say in his press conference, he didn't want to do anything to upset or offend the movement. And I think it perhaps maybe had something to do with that, but he couldn't back up his story, and it unraveled so quickly that he ended up getting jail time and having to pay a steep fine.
Unbelievable. Dr. Judy Ho, when we look at the why of it, okay, Sherry Papini, this, I mean, I still to this day don't understand why someone would go. I mean, this was super elaborate. I mean, she was all in on that thing. Any idea on why someone would do that?
Well, it's so difficult to know, but one of the most common reasons why somebody would start a fake crime and be a participant in it, and then at one point it just gets bigger and bigger, and it's like at that point they're committed and they can't pull out, even if they start to question themselves and whether or not this is the right thing to do. But oftentimes in the beginning, it starts with a seeking of attention or sympathy. And although that sounds like it's so simplistic, it's not. It's one of those very deep human needs that we have to feel connected to people and to feel like others care about us. And so for some people who initiate a hoax crime, it could be that they're looking for something that they feel like they didn't get. Sometimes they may perceive themselves to be a victim of the system they live in, or they may be an actual victim. They may have had trauma happen to them in the past. And so it doesn't seem like that far-fetched of an idea, but taking on this persona and having all these people pour their resources and their time and be able to watch that is somehow personally fulfilling to them. And if there's
she got more time than that guy.
Well, we all know why, but I'm not going to say it.
It's unbelievable, man.
Other kind of mental illness on top of it that would suggest that they didn't know right from wrong, or maybe
the whole thing about this, and let's be real here. If anyone, and I can tell you, I've had moments in my life, you know, first of all, half of my life is in hindsight. And I think we can all look back on things that we've done, said, you know, whatever. And man, I wouldn't do that again. But we all live in hindsight a little bit. If you're not, then you must be Jesus Christ, because everyone's has tasks of hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there've been times in my life, and I'm sure in your life, where you wanted to run away, man. Just get away.
Mm-hmm.
Just get away from everything, you know, because you made poor decisions or shit just got deep.
Yep.
And you just and everyone on this panel or in this chat, if you haven't had those feelings, I'm going to call you a liar, because I can guarantee you there's some point in your life where you just wanted to get away.
Yep.
And that's what these people that go through these things are experiencing. I mean, the woman, she's having an affair on her husband. She doesn't know what to do. She's desperate. So she makes some other poor decisions. This guy was desperate.
Mental health issues.
Yeah, this guy was desperate because he stepped on his, you know what, because he got greedy.
Yeah.
And thought he got a little too big for his britches in the show. And they said, yeah, you know what? You're a prima donna. Bye-bye. And so what did he do? He concocted this story to get empathy and sympathy and everything else from the communities. And it worked until he got popped. But the sad thing is, like I said, is people still, even after they knew the facts,
they supported him,
and used it for political gain.
Yeah. It's a strange parallel too, because I see some parallels in this, as you know, we talk a lot about Bryan Kohberger, you know, and it's just going to be very interesting as this case goes forward into trial. And let's just say that there's mounting amounts of evidence against him, and then he gets convicted and put away for the rest of his life. I'm just hypothetically saying, I still think there's going to be a ton of people out there that say this guy is so innocent. And or let's just turn it around. You know, let's say he doesn't get put away, but the evidence out there says that he's super innocent. There will be a bunch of people out there that will continue to say that he is guilty. You know, we'll play both sides of the scale. Because I know everybody goes, you always fucking say that, you know, the way that you fucking talk in your show, you're so biased. You think he's fucking guilty. You've already convicted him. Blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, I have my theories. I have my thoughts. I have my opinion. I have the freedom of speech to say these things. So yeah, I mean, I've said it 1,000 times over. I think the evidence is very strong against Brian Kohlberger. Again, he's not guilty until he's not. He's innocent until proven guilty. So
right, and people, somebody said something the other day in chat, and I was like, set aback. It was on your chat. It was an after show chat, and I said to them, I said, if any case that I've ever heard of, how quickly we forget that this man brutally murdered 4 people with a 9-inch K-bar knife. So imagine,
allegedly,
imagine the absolute terror and fear that went through each one of their minds.
Yeah.
Seconds before they had a 9-inch K-bar knife either slicing their throat, which they would have bled out. They would have been conscious.
Right.
They would have bled out and been totally incapacitated. And I had to argue with this person and say, how could you even think for 2 seconds that that case does not warrant death?
Yeah.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Now I worked. I mean, you and I have talked about this. Eileen Wuornos. Everyone knows who Eileen Wuornos is. She's the most prolific female serial killer, arguably, ever.
Right.
And she was right here in Florida. And I was part of a task force. And we had a task force to try and locate her. Well, she was here in Daytona. And I had a snitch out there that was blowing my pager up. This was back when we had pagers. And I was off that night. So I get the snitch freaking blowing my pager up, telling me that she's here. I call her back. She's here. I'm like, where's here? Who are you talking about? And the woman you're looking for. Okay. You talking about the blonde prostitute that we're looking for? Yeah. Well, she was just at this bar and she's heading to the Last Resort. The Last Resort is where Eileen Wuornos was popped, which is, about 15 minutes from my house right now. But that lady, now she's a prolific killer. She killed Oliver Johns, but in her mind, and I don't believe she should have been sentenced to death. I'm sorry. I'm a proponent for the death penalty, but this is a woman who was brutally raped as a child. She had so many bad things happen to her. She was thrown out on the streets, and she was raped, and she was beaten, and she was a prostitute. She would often be beaten and thrown out on the side of the road and not paid. That happens a lot to street prostitutes. So she finally obtained a gun, and she's like, I'm done. So every John after that, even if they didn't rob her, she was justified in her mind to killing them.
Yeah.
Now to take that woman and sentence her to death, I didn't feel good about it. What I would have liked to have seen done is she be evaluated and be talked to, and we learn from her. We get deep inside that gray matter and figure out what makes her tick. That's what I think should have been done. But people are arguing with me, but Brian Kohlberger, allegedly, if he did this, 100% should have a bullet in his head, because that's what they do. That's what they're going to do in Idaho, by the way. They're not going to do
it's firing squad.
Injection. Now they're going to, which is great. And I'm sure what they'll probably do is they'll have 4 or 5 guys with a gun, and they'll each be aiming, to kill him, but only one will actually have a.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. And then none of the people will know what is actually the loaded gun.
Well, that's how they do it. That's how they do it in the in the electric chair gas chamber too. Is they all push the button, so no one really knows
who did it. Yeah. Well, Crystal here says, I love that you highlighted JLR's boots on the ground reporting. I know him personally, and he is awesome. Well, that's great. And Crystal, if you ever have contact with JLR, we would love to have him on the show over here and do an interview. So if you could pass on the word, maybe he can reach out to me via my email, let's talk live podcast at gmail.com. I'd love to pop him in here for a quick interview sometime and just hear his story. And he's been, doing a lot of boots on the ground reporting, especially in Idaho. That's a very important case to us. And I would love to just find out what the vibe is around there, what he's seeing, what he's hearing, if he's talked to anybody, things of that nature. So thank you so much for, highlighting that. Yeah, sure, Crystal, let him know he's welcome over here at any time on the panel. We'd love to have him over here and tell us, what's going on there. So, all right, let's continue with this video.
They're in a psychotic state. That can make things even more complicated because they may not even be truly conscious of what's going on.
And in the case of Rudy Farias and the mom there, it seems like the mom was
hope you're feeling
getting
better.
money from it to a certain extent, right. and it's still not clear there. So let's dive now into the case of Carlee Russell, because police have come out and said we can't corroborate anything from her story. So my guess is they're investigating whether or not that is a hoax. And there's a lot of people who believe it has all indications that it may very well be a hoax. Let's take a listen to her 911 call.
Hi, I am on Interstate 459, and there is a kid just walking by themselves. Oh, hold on. Where on 459 are you? I'm right next to the exit 10 by the Hoover Med, like to get off by the Hoover Med. Okay, so you're before the exit? Yes. Okay, and were you headed southbound or northbound? Like towards Tuscaloosa or towards 280? Towards Tuscaloosa. Okay, and was the child on the left or right side? On the right side. Were they walking northbound or southbound? They're walking towards Tuscaloosa. Walking southbound. How old do they look? Like a toddler, maybe 3 or 4. Did you pull over with them? Are you still with them? Yes. Okay, are you with the child right now? No, I'm not. I didn't get out of the car. I can see them though. Do you mind staying and keeping an eye on them until we get there? Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, what kind of car are you in?
Way too calm.
I'm in a red Mercedes-Benz. Is it a sedan or SUV? SUV. I mean, it's a sedan. Sorry. Can you put your hazards on for me? Yeah, they're on. Okay. Did you talk to the child at all, or did you say anything to them? No. Okay. No. Do they look like they're injured? No, they don't. Are they white, black, Hispanic, or Asian? They're white. Is it male or female? I think it's a boy, a little boy. Right now? Okay. So is he wearing clothes? Yes. Okay. What is he wearing?
I agree.
It's a white t-shirt, and it doesn't look like he has any pants on. It looks like a diaper. And you don't see any cars anywhere? No cars anywhere. Okay. All right. What's your name? My name is Carlee Russell. And you don't see any injuries on the child from where you're at, correct? No, but I can't really see them that good. Okay, try to keep an eye on them for the best they can, because I don't want you to lose track of them. Okay. All right, and do they have shoes on? No. Nothing I can see. I can't really see that. Look. Okay. All right, I've got them on the way, okay? Just try to keep an eye on them, but officers are on the way, okay? Okay, thanks.
Dr. Judy Ho, as I listened to Carlee Russell on that, and the first time I heard it, it was much different than I imagined what it would sound like. What do you hear in her voice, and any thoughts on why a 25-year-old might attempt a sort of elaborate hoax here as well?
Yeah, it can be really tough to say. Obviously, when people are in these situations, when it's actually happening, they could respond in different ways. But a couple of things that I picked up on are that her tone, just her tone of voice and the way that she was speaking was kind of cheerful, a little upbeat given the situation. I think that's kind of a frightening scenario, right? Seeing this child, this little tiny child on the side of the road by themselves completely. There wasn't really urgency in her voice. It actually seemed almost like more of a positively tinted sort of tone as she's talking about this very serious matter. And then also just when answering questions, there were a number of pauses. And again, it's not that people can't be thinking about what they have to say when they say it. But also, if you're observing a scene in real time and the child is in front of you, you wouldn't think that there would be so much of thinking, pauses before giving the answer. In terms of her actual intent, it's so hard to know. I don't know what's going on in her head that thought that this would be a good idea. But again, oftentimes for these individuals, there's something that they think needs to be called attention to. Maybe in their mind, they actually think that they're being a martyr of some sort, of they're doing a public good in some way, in some twisted way. It's amazing what human justification can do to a person's mind, and even believing that this was somehow the right thing to do to call attention perhaps to an issue that she thinks deserves some spotlight.
And Caitlin, what was going on in her life at that moment? Was there any sort of drama taking place?
Well, as far as we know, based on what we've gleaned from a lot of her different social media reports and her different social media posts, she was kind of over it with work. She had posted several things to that effect, and it did seem like there was some sort of issue with her boyfriend. She had posted several things alluding to being cheated on, alluding to someone going after a stripper, alluding to someone to sort of seeing someone's true colors. So it seems like there was perhaps some sort of trouble within her relationship, but it is notable that when she quote unquote disappeared, her boyfriend was one of the first people to post all over his social media in an attempt to find who he thought was a girlfriend who was kidnapped. And since then, he's scrubbed his social media of any vestiges of their relationship, including those posts talking about her being potentially kidnapped.
I don't know, bro. I'm gonna say hoax.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna opine here, and I'm gonna say that she's that girl that, as a little girl, probably stomped her feet and got whatever she wanted.
Spoiled.
She probably was that kid that's in the store that you hate to see, who starts crying because they want a toy and throws a fit, and the parents give in and give her a toy. I would bet you just about everything that if we delved in and somebody actually did some investigating and found out what type of person she was as a child, that it's morphed into what she is as an adult. And she was in fight or flight mode, and she was desperate. And I think the aforementioned stuff we talked about with her job, her boyfriend, and everything else,
it's all starting to add up.
She manipulated everyone. And listen to her, the tone of her voice. I mean, if you're driving down the interstate, I don't know what time of the night this was, and you see a toddler on the side of the interstate,
yeah, you're freaking out.
You're gonna be like, unless
oh my God, there's a toddler, and when you're calling 911.
Now, me, I would, I did this stuff for a living, so I would be like, yeah, it's a little boy about 2-3 years old, wearing a diaper. I lost sight of him in the woods. I'm gonna backtrack. I would be calm, but most people, would not be.
Holy shit, there's a kid out here.
and they would probably slam on the brakes right there and not coast 600 yards down the road.
Yeah, I'm telling
you. Now that's almost 0.2 of a mile.
Yeah,
that she went. And what she was doing, she was just, like doing her nails, telling a story, driving the car.
I think hoax, bro. I'm feeling hoax here.
Yeah, 100%.
Feeling hoax.
All right, Dr. Judy Ho, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate your insight. Caitlin's going to stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about investigating a hoax. What's the process of figuring out that, hey, wait a minute, these things aren't necessarily adding up? Plus, coming up next hour.
In Long Island, New York, new information tonight related to...
I'm telling you, man, I'll be covering this guy again on Tuesday. I think he's going to turn out to be one of the most prolific serial killers of all time.
He already is, to be honest with you. If he's done the ones that they know about, then he would already be one of the most prolific. But I think there's going to be way more bodies.
Nuts.
The accused Gilgo beat...
Terrible nightmare.
Leaving the...
If that's not what happened, what did happen, Sherry?
I don't know.
Oh, by the way, I saw today that his brother is the one that had his truck. His brother had his Avalanche in South Carolina.
Really?
They went and they hooked his truck up yesterday. So I don't know if he gave it to his brother or sold it to his brother.
Wow.
And that place that he owns property next to his brother, it's all acreage. There's
Yeah.
a lake there. There's
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. Man, what a better place
It's
to
gonna be.
get rid of bodies.
I'm gonna tell you,
Right?
it's gonna be nuts.
And it's like Fort Knox to get in there.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
Hey, it's James. There's no way. There's no way.
The DNA doesn't lie.
DNA doesn't lie.
That's Sherry Papini faked her abduction. That's the moment where she's confronted by investigators, and she now realizes that they know that she made it all up, that she was hanging out with an old boyfriend, getting branded and starving herself and getting punched in the face. Strange stuff. Strange stuff. Let's take a look at more of Sherry Papini's police interrogation.
You've told us so many truths in this situation. The reason why you can describe the room is because you stayed in the room in the dark for hours, for days on end. The reason why you lost so much weight is because you stopped eating. The reason why you got a rash on your arm is because you cleaned his house. The reason why the brand is because he went to the store, bought the branding tools, and branded you. The reason why your nose was broke is because of a hockey stick.
Unbelievable, right? So how do investigators approach this? And is it dangerous to be skeptical, or should you be skeptical in cases like this? Still with me tonight, senior reporter for thedailymail.com, Caitlin Becker, and joining us, retired FBI Special Agent Bobby Chacon. Bobby, let me start with you. Skepticism is always good, but as an investigator and you have a victim saying I was abducted, do you approach the investigation with a level of skepticism, or how does that work?
I don't think, Vinny, not until you get that first monkey wrench that kind of sends you off in that direction. But until then, look, we've all gone into this profession to help people and to especially help victims. And in these types of cases, we have to believe the victim, especially in these things that turn out to be hoaxes on.
You're muted, bro. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I said I keep looking at the viewpoint. Oh, I'm at 99 right now. So I'm trying to get to, at least we can say we got to 100 viewers tonight. And there's 99, then it will drop to like 92. And then it'll go to 99, and it will drop to 92.
Right.
Let's break 100.
Normally, that there's not a lot of physical evidence, not a lot of eyewitnesses. There's usually just that person's word to go on. And, we're very well trained to believe the victim. We want to believe the victim. We want to help get bad guys. That's why we're in this business. And so you always start down the road of believing the victim and tell us what. And then there's one or two things that maybe don't add up, and you try to push through that, and you try to say maybe there's a rational explanation for this. But then there's a third thing and a fourth thing, and then that's when it kicks in. That hair on the back of your neck starts going, hey, wait a minute, do we have a hoax here? But initially, I think we all go in there going, we got to get the bad guy that did this. We need to help this person, and that's just natural. We want to be like that, and we want to do that, and you want to keep that mind on the victim. You want to keep that mind on believing this person is a victim. And ultimately, most of the time, the overwhelming majority of the time, they are a victim. So you always have to keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Caitlin Becker, this was such a huge...
I'm going to quote Plato when we're talking about you mentioned, because we don't have a lot of people on because we don't have Kohlberger's name up here.
Yeah.
And this is for both me and Brian, and everybody listen. Plato said, wise men speak because they have to have something to say. Fools speak because they have to say something. There's nothing to talk about in that case right now. So why be a fool and report on it every single day?
Tomorrow,
talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about other things.
There's great cases to follow right now, dude. Like this is
we got two serial killers out there.
Serial killers right now. Two serial killers right now. And this case, this is a mysterious case too. But tomorrow, oh God, the streams are going to be flowing tomorrow, my friend, because that's the date in court.
And you know what? That's a perfect example because we'll have something to say tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I do have a stream planned for tomorrow night, so I just haven't dropped the reminder yet. And then on Tuesday, I'm going right back to Rex Huerman. I'm going to report on that, because Monday's a big news day. So I'm sure we're going to have more stuff to come out. And these are, I don't really see anybody else covering these cases. And, if you want Long Island serial killer talk, come here. I'm going to cover that case. It's important. I'm telling you right now, as we're on this podcast right now on July 23rd, 2023, I think this guy is going to turn out to be the most prolific serial killer of all time. I really do. I mean, from what we're hearing and what we're seeing, multiple state lines, bodies could be everywhere with this guy, owning property everywhere. It's all starting to add up, and they already have his DNA on 4 victims. So, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't be covering that. It's
huge story. From your perspective, at what moment or what things sort of started to tip the scales in a different direction as to what really happened here? Or was it like all of a sudden, oh my goodness, she made this up?
It really was one of those, oh my goodness moments. With a lot of these stories, you have Sherry Papini, Carlee, Rudy Farias. All of these stories
I'm already going to say this. People, don't hold your breath, because I already know what's going to happen. It's going to be one of 2 things tomorrow during that hearing. 1, Koberg's going to stand up and he's going to stand in silence. Or 2, Ann Taylor's going to ask for more time.
She's going to get it.
She's going to get it. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, they're not going to stand up tomorrow and say, oh, he wasn't even there. He was in Florida on the beach, sipping a pina colada. I'm telling you, it ain't going to happen tomorrow. It ain't going to happen. So.
Became national news when these people were supposedly missing. And I think it's really important to differentiate being skeptical after an alleged victim is found and being skeptical when this person is still missing. It's really dangerous to be skeptical and say, maybe they're not missing, maybe we shouldn't look into it, maybe we shouldn't cover it. From my perspective, I would rather be wrong 9 times out of 10 than not put the attention and the coverage on a story where a victim is actually missing and in harm's way. But then with the case of Sherry Papini, she's found and she has all of these wild accusations about what happened to her when she was missing. She specifically said it was 2 Hispanic women that had held her and she didn't really see their faces and that they had branded her. All of these really crazy accusations. Cops are looking for these 2 women who she apparently fabricated out of midair. And there was DNA. You heard in that segment earlier from this conversation, the DNA doesn't lie. There was male and female DNA that did not belong to Sherry Papini on her body. And when they ran it and they finally got a hit outside of CODIS, because it was not in that national database, it turned out to belong to her ex-boyfriend. And once they talked to the ex-boyfriend.
Gee, we've kind of heard that in a similar case before, right, DJ?
Yeah.
Didn't hit in CODIS, but hit out. Yeah. Wonder what case that is.
The whole thing falls apart because when you're.
And what happened in this case? The DNA didn't lie, right?
Right. Oh, and they just did a little investigating and they found the match. Didn't have to be in CODIS.
It's crazy how that happens, huh?
Yeah.
You're going to perpetrate a hoax like this. You better be sure that all of the people you have involved in your hoax are on board. But really, at the end of it, no one wants to go down for a crime they did not commit. So when this man's DNA pops up on her, of course, he's going to say, wasn't me, she came willingly, because that man's not going to go to jail for her story.
Makes sense. Let's take a listen now. We'll turn to Carlee Russell and her story. Here's Hoover Police talking about the case and describing the story that she told them.
Dina, it's funny. I think of what the hell is that show? Oh, when Chris Hansen used to do those To Catch the Predator shows, and there was one episode where he busts this guy, and the guy looks at him and he says, well, do you have anything you want to say before you go? Because he's, going to let him go outside and get arrested. And the guy goes, keep your jeans in your jeans. and Hansen didn't get it right away. It was like, what did you say? And he's like, keep your jeans in your jeans.
That was a great show though while it lasted.
Oh, dude, I love that show. I wish I could play them, the episodes, but they'll take the stream down. It sucks.
It freaked me out sometimes because he would just come out so casual.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, man, you just never know. I mean, talk about fight or flight, He's just put himself at risk so many damn times. I mean, I'm sure he had security there, but It
Oh
was
yeah.
so crazy.
And then what was another one that was good when he came out and the guy went to go hug the decoy and he comes out and he goes, "What? No hug for me?" And they're like,
It sounds like you enjoyed that a little too much.
"Oh, it's great, dude. It's the best fucking show." And these guys are like, you just see the oh shit moment, like, "Oh
Right.
fuck, like I'm fucked," you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah. And then they're like, "Oh, well, I came here to look at the house because I heard it was for sale." He's like, "The girl was waving me in." It's like, fuck off.
The next county north of me is Flagler County. That's where St. Augustine.
Oh,
It's by St. Augustine and all that up
Flagler
there.
Beach.
Yeah, that's where they had a huge one. It was a great
They-
cave. You had several good ones in that one.
They
One of them was
tackled the guy. They tackled one guy in the sand, and he had like sand all over his face. And
yeah. I surf up there at the Flagler Pier all the time. It's like
That's fucking great.
25 minutes north of me. But yeah, crazy.
And then what was the other guy that they got? There's a couple of them.
Pedophiles are crazy. I mean,
there's one guy that drove like 8 hours. He was a retired police officer and was gonna get back on the force, and he had like 100 guns in his car or something like that. What the fuck, man? Like, why do you need all these guns? It's crazy. Cindy's 64 says 9.99 super chat. She says, "Brian, great show tonight. I love the variety. Thank you so much." Listen, we gotta grow these shows. We gotta grow the variety shows. I've said this for the last 2 months, 3 months. We can't do Idaho every night. You're gonna beat this thing into the ground, and people are just gonna lose interest. There are many other cases out there right now that we can cover, and we are covering, and that's why I've been kind of switching up the variety. That's why we did the show last night. We split it. I did Rex Heuermann in the beginning, and I did Koberger at the end. I think the show flowed perfectly. You can't do this stuff all the time. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. What are you gonna say, DJ?
Yeah, this am I allowed to say the P word?
You can say pedo.
Yeah, my essay. Okay, so pedos are you can't rehab a pedo. Okay,
No.
it's just not going to happen. The only thing that would rehab a pedo is a lobotomy.
Yeah,
can't do it.
Or
you're never going to be able to do it. It's a mindset, and you're not going to be able to ever do it. I had a case one time, and I want to tell this story because it's so crazy. Somewhere up there by you was Jersey. Trooper pulled a guy from Daytona over, and gets in his car. He does a search, and he uncovers a bunch of Polaroid pictures of this guy engaging in, we know acts.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're like, so they get in contact, and I wound up getting a search warrant for his apartment on Beachside, and this was before cell phones.
Right.
So what this guy was doing is he took a 2x4. This is what a genius he was. He took a 2x4 and he took a bicycle brake and put it on the 2x4 and then made a bracket to hold the Polaroid camera.
Ugh.
And he would hold that, because the cable.
I don't want to know. I know where you're going with it.
That's what he was doing. He was taking pictures using that, man. That's how insanely crazy these people are.
Wow.
And how one of the ways we got him too is he had a Blockbuster card laying there that was in the photo.
Wow.
So it's just crazy. I mean, that's the worst part of any of the investigations I did was the kid stuff, man. Worst.
So I
hated being in sex crimes. I hated it.
Yeah. I got a huge issue right now. My mouse has died and I can't click a video. I can't end the stream.
Send Brian some money now.
I got to get my mouse to work. If not, I'm going to literally have to turn my computer. Oh, all right, here we go. Oh, that would have been crazy because I don't have a plug-in mouse here. We would have been fucking live for like 10 hours until I went into the store and got a new mouse. Wow, that was crazy. I think the battery died. Fuck. All right. All right, let's get through this. Maybe we'll take a few calls tonight. You want to take a few calls tonight?
Yeah, man.
All right.
Sure.
Let's see.
She stated when she got out of her vehicle to check on the child, a man came out of the trees and mumbled that he was checking on the baby. She claimed that the man then picked her up and she screamed.
Yeah, I forgot.
She stated he then made her go over a fence. She claims he then forced her into a car. And the next thing she remembers is being in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. She stated that the male was with a female. However, she never saw the female, only hearing her voice. She also told detectives she could hear a baby crying. She told detectives the male had orange hair with a big bald spot on the back. She said she was able to escape the 18-wheeler and fled on foot, only to be captured again, and then was put in a car. She claimed she was then bombed.
The tractor trailer, then is caught again.
From the 911.
And ourselves.
Of the color of his skin because of his...
Our actual, genuine
victims.
There are people that are actual, genuine victims of hate crimes that you did damage to.
That was the judge at the sentencing of Jussie Smollett for his elaborate hoax.
Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate you.
Judge was not happy. Not happy. As you know, Jussie was alleging a hate crime, that he was attacked because of the color of his skin, because of his sexuality. And
so we're gonna finish this up about another 8 minutes here, and then we'll open up the phone lines for some live calls before we end the show.
And that's why he was a victim of this horrific moment with a noose thrown around his neck, bleached, and he was able to fight him off, by the way, I think is what he said. It was all fake. It was all fake, by the way. So here's Jussie Smollett in an extremely memorable moment at his sentence.
Dave Chappelle, Juicy Smoulier. This guy.
No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I would like to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor.
What a great
I respect your decision.
It's disgusting.
Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay.
Disgusting.
Wow, I remember when that was happening. So what happens here? What happens to these hoaxsters, I guess I'll call them? Sherry Papini, mail fraud, fake false statements, 18 months in prison, 36 months of supervised release. She's got some restitution that she's got to deal with as well. Jussie Smollett, 30 months of probation, 150 days in jail for his false report, disorderly conduct. Got some restitution going on there, too. Now, Janie Santana, in the case where she reported her son missing, there have been no charges. Still a new case. I presume there's still an investigation going. May or may not ever be any charges there. So, still with me, Caitlin Becker, and also joining us right now in Los Angeles, California, former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. All right, Nima, so how does a prosecutor decide what to do in these cases, right? Because it begins, this person is a victim. Then all of a sudden, the tables are turned. They're now accused of you know.
Gosh, is she easy on the eyes or what?
This type of fraudulent, false reporting,
that flip out?
Hoaxes. How should criminal prosecutors deal with them? And what if, in this case, you're talking about Carlee Russell. What if that turns out to be a hoax? Is she facing anything here?
Well, Vinny, the worst thing you know as a prosecutor is to put an innocent person in jail, and that's everyone's nightmare. So whenever there's a false report like this, you have to take it very seriously. And on the federal side, you have a statute that deals with this, making false statements to a police officer, right? That's generally what you use in these types of cases. But the states, they have it too, making a false police report. That's what they prosecuted Jussie Smollett with. And absolutely, you got to go after these cases very aggressively. You know, Sherry Papini's case, not only did she file this false police report, the FBI got involved, she actually took money from the California Victim Compensation Fund. So we talked about the time and the resources that are used to investigate these fake crimes, but she actually took money from folks that are real victims.
Wow.
And of course, in Smollett's case, he pushed the case to trial, was convicted, and still didn't accept responsibility. So, I mean, these are two who should be prosecuted. You know, Carlee's Russell's case, I expect the same thing to happen. I mean, here's someone that took a lot of the public's time, law enforcement time, and she should face charges. There's got to be consequences for these types of actions, because otherwise, you know, they're going to continue.
Just keep doing it. Yep.
Caitlin Becker, have we heard anything from law enforcement in either the case of Rudy Farris's mom, Janie Santana, or in the case of Carlee Russell?
Both of those investigations are ongoing, so no charges have been filed yet, and there's no indication that any will be in the near future. However, in the case of Janie Santana, we're not only looking at those charges about filing the false police report and pretending that her son was missing when he wasn't for all of those years and wasting police resources, but we also have an issue of her getting paid from a GoFundMe more than $2,000 that was earmarked to take care of this woman who was searching for her son. Now, we know that she was paid that because GoFundMe confirmed that that money was paid out to her under false pretenses. But in addition to that, there were several in-person fundraisers that had been held over the time that this child was supposedly in the wind and AWOL. And I don't know how much money she purportedly took home from those in-person fundraisers, but we do know that those happened. We do know that there was money raised, and we do know that she took it. So she's looking at potentially additional charges because of that. And the police in Texas have said that those potential issues are wrapped up in their current investigation. So they are not only looking into the false missing persons report as well as those financial issues.
Nima, I'm thinking back now how surprised I was that the Justice Smollett case actually went to trial, right? Usually, I guess in most of these cases, once the hoax has been, you know, unveiled and revealed, it's kind of the game over. But Jussie sort of stuck to it, and I think to this day still is very defiant in admitting that it was a hoax.
She almost laughed.
Well, Vinny, this is a special type of criminal defendant, right? These are narcissists. These are liars, right? Sometimes they do it for the money, but oftentimes they
100%, bro.
They do it for the attention, and they, you know, want sympathy. And, you know, once they go down that path of lying, they're going to stick to their story. Imagine someone like Jussie Smollett. Why did he do this? 100%. Because he wanted more money from the show that he was on, Empire. He thought he wasn't being treated, even though he was making tens of thousands of dollars per episode. You know, think of how many people in this country would love to have an opportunity like he did. You know, but again, these are people, whether it's social media, whether it's traditional media, you know, we're seeing a lot more of this. And I don't know what Carlee Russell's motivation was, but if you're looking at her social media, she's someone that thought she was being treated unfairly, maybe at work by her boyfriend, and this was you know, some way to get attention. For Santana, obviously she had a very sort of different relationship with her son, and we don't know if he's a dependent adult and some of the allegations of drug abuse and sexual abuse are true or not, but those may be additional charges in addition to all the fraud that Caitlin mentioned as well.
And Caitlin, the other part of this is, you know, the world we live in now, social media. When someone goes missing or someone's been abducted, a lot of these cases get a lot of attention. And in Carlee Russell's case, I mean, it became a very big story very quickly. And then when things turn, there's a sense of outrage and anger from the public.
Well, yeah, the public feels like their time has been wasted and that they've been duped. No one wants to feel duped and taken advantage of. And there is such an influx of information constantly coming at us. I mean, at dailymail.com right now, I couldn't tell you how many news stories we have on the website and how quickly they are changing. So for people to take time out of their day to spend caring and being concerned about someone who is not actually a victim, people feel annoyed, and people on the whole, yes, there's a lot of terrible things that go on, but on the whole, people have good hearts, and they want to donate to GoFundMes, and they want to repost to find this person, and they feel like there's a little bit that they can do to potentially help, and then kind of feel like an idiot when you find out that this thing wasn't what you thought it was. And it really does, I think, ultimately come down to attention. Why do 5, 6, 7-year-olds pack up their backpack with snacks and PJs and run away from home down the street? Usually because they feel like they were wronged by their parents or their siblings in some innocuous way, and then they turn around and come home. This is a really intense adult version of that.
Nima, how important is the why of it in determining what the punishment should be and what prosecutors should seek? Whether there's, because these aren't murder cases, right? And I think the threshold is always, do they deserve time behind bars or not for, coming up with these hoaxes?
I think the why does matter, Vinny. I mean, and any criminal defendant, right? I mean, there's certain things you can't come back from, but I think a judge is going to know, why did someone do this? Was it because of some mental health issue, right? For someone like Farias, I mean, that why is going to be very different from someone like Russell. So the why does matter. And what's their response? Do they try to make amends for it? Do they come clean? Are they making restitution, right? Paying back law enforcement, prosecutors for the time they spent on the case. It can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Look at the city of Chicago on the Smollett case. So I think it absolutely is an important question. And if someone's just going to sort of maintain that innocence, persist in those lies, they have a constitutional right to push the case to trial like Smollett did. But if you do, don't be asking for a discount. Don't be asking for a break or any sympathy or accommodation from the judge when you do so.
Right. But ironically, Papini, who ended up admitting it, got more time than Jussie, who fought it all the way. Sometimes things work out a little funny.
Well, the feds, Vinny,
That's
how
right.
the feds do
Feds
things.
don't mess around. Nima Romani, thank you so much. Great to see you tonight. And Caitlin Becker, awesome as always. DailyMail.com, senior reporter. We'll see you again really, really soon.
She is cute. Super cute. All right, let's do this. Want to take some calls?
Sure, man.
We'll do 10, 15 minutes of calls if anybody wants to call. Let me just do this. We'll get that out of the spotlight because we want to see that. Hey, if anybody wants to call, we're going to put the call line out there. You want to talk Carlee Russell, just let us know how you feel. What do you think? Do you think this was a hoax, or do you think this was an actual kidnapping? Give us a show. Call the show 508-343-0833. I just ask you, if you are listening in the chat and someone's on the line, let's not try to cloud and keep calling in. Let's give that person some time, and then we'll get another person on if they want to call in. Who's going to be the first brave soul tonight? We had some great calls last night, dude. Some really good calls. Or even if you want to just call in and let us know what you think about the show, that'd be great. Phone line is open, 508-343-08.
Are you opening up for any kind of discussion, or do you want it to primarily be about this?
Yeah, we can open up to whatever.
You know where it's going to lead.
Coburger tomorrow, I know. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm
sure
game for anything.
Yeah, whatever anybody feels. Who's going to be the first victim? Maybe not tonight, John. I don't know. They're missing out.
Well, while we're waiting on the call, if you think about it, I think what you're doing is, it just shows integrity, man, because we could sit here all night and bounce back and forth the same garbage that has been spewed since December.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so redundant and boring that I personally can't take it anymore, unless there's some substance and some new stuff to talk about.
Sure.
I always think that why not delve into the why? We pretty much a lot of us have conceded to the who,
sure, based
on just a little bit that we have. Let's get into why can't we ever get into the why? What, and everyone should put themselves in a situation where they have to actually go to that dark place like I talked about last night.
Mm-hmm.
Try to figure out and throw theories out. I'm all about throwing theories out as to why.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to nail it. And my theory is that he did this. And think about this for a minute.
Allegedly.
What's that?
Allegedly.
Okay. What better, if you're a professor and your goal is to actually teach criminal justice in a college setting, you have an itinerary. So what better thing to do than to commit a quadruple homicide that remains open in your town? Let's say you stay in WSU, and then as part of your curriculum or a thesis.
We got a call.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's take this. 253, where you be? Who's this?
This is Lindsay. How are you?
Hey, how are you? What's going on?
Good. I couldn't stand the silence with no one calling.
Yeah.
So I'd appreciate.
Love it.
I agree that it's a hoax. I think that money could have gone to something else more worthy, like human trafficking, fentanyl crisis, or anything else that's lacking funding these days. But so that's a little frustrating, knowing how much is spent on her. So,
Yeah, it's a shame, because like we said, when we heard that there was a firefighter that actually could have used, some help, and all this resources got put towards, this. And I'm standing with you. I think this is a hoax. I think that, there's got to be some kind of consequences, because if we continue to let this behavior happen, it's just going to keep happening over and over and over again.
right, exactly.
It's crazy.
To be firm on that, because she obviously planned it out, so it's premeditated, and I think she's just really immature and maybe a little narcissistic. Or I'm no professional, but that's what it's looking like to me. I can just picture her doing her nails on the bed in the hotel room with AC, and people are looking for her out searching in the heat. It just
You put that in chat, didn't you? You typed that in chat.
So you guys are great. No one would be sad if you did a rap tonight, DJ.
Yeah, right. Yeah, my rapping days are over. Although I do have a mic now.
It always makes the chat better and makes Brian smile too. So I think you should. All right, someone else. I'm going to tag. You guys are it.
Thank
Come on,
you.
someone else calling.
She's tagging.
Thank you.
Tagging.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. Thanks. That's great. Yes, Casey in the chat. It's
All
been
right,
a
so I'll
while.
pick up where I left off. So what better thing to do than commit a quadruple homicide? You get off, and then your curriculum, part of it is going to be to, as a class, come up with theories on what actually happened, who did it, and how was it done. And your teacher knows the answer. So he's going to grade you based on that.
So my mouse just died again. I have no fucking battery here. I don't know what's going on. I got to get a new mouse. Caller, hang up. Hang up 1 second. I'll call. Hang on. Let me see. I might have to go grab a battery. All right. Caller, if you want to call back. I don't know what's going on. This mouse is about probably shit the bed. I'm going to go run and grab a battery real quick. I'll be right back.
Hey guys, gonna have to hold on the calls for a minute till Brian can get his battery for his mouse. But anyway, I'll finish up. Getting the, imagine you being a teacher, you're grading your class according to your theory as to what actually happened. And he only knows the answers. So whoever gets closest is going to get a good grade. Pretty cool thought, I think.
All right. Sorry about that. Caller, if you want to call back, we'll take your call before we go off air. I'm sorry about that. If you want to call back. Yeah, I got to get a new mouse. I think this mouse is on its way out. All right, let's take this call. 779 in the houses. Let's Talk Live podcast. Who we got?
Hello?
You're going to want to turn down your background noise, bud.
Okay. How's that?
That's perfect. What's going on, man?
Okay. You know what? I'm actually new to the internet, and I'm 49 years old.
Well,
kind of no. I'm a little bit old school.
Sure.
I haven't had television in my house since 2017. There's too much craziness.
It's not a bad
We
thing.
rely on music, buddy.
There you go.
But a little bit behind where I'm coming from with a lot of these things that are going on nowadays is I actually found out about the stimulus checks. I found out on accident. That's how much I know about the internet. Never been on TikTok, never been on Facebook. There are enough people I want to talk to.
Yep.
But My wife and I had a son in 2007. My wife and I had twins in 2010. When my twins in 2012 were 19 months old, my son disappeared. Thought he got out of the backyard. We had a party. I ran up and down the street everywhere. He was in the swimming pool.
Oh,
okay.
I'm
sorry.
I've gone through the PTSD thing. No, that's the thing, is it's okay with us. My son's 16 now. My wife died on his 8th birthday from a brain aneurysm. So I've been a single dad. And I don't know, I've had my kids since they were 3 and 7, and now they're 12 and 16. So I get to play the mom and the dad role, but I don't understand how people continuously get away with just twisting things around. Little bits and pieces all of a sudden appear. They're great information, but then little bits and pieces get taken away. I think that misses the message. Kids are supposed to give us a chance to be better than we were, better than we are right now.
Right.
And people waste that chance. I'm 49 years old. Think about the only thing that I've really been good at is trying to be a dad. I'm big with ladies first. You help people. I don't understand why people just don't help. I tell my kids, you don't know what's going on with a person.
Yeah.
But people will forget what you say and do. But people don't forget how you make them feel. Go to a store and help somebody get something off a shelf. Hold a door for a lady. I'm big with that. Ladies first. It's how I was raised, and there's no reason why my child or any other child shouldn't have that little bit of respect. You know, kids nowadays don't have lightning bugs and ghost stories to tell like we did back in the 80s.
You're right.
There's nothing left. Hollywood doesn't even have any ideas anymore. So they're remaking stuff from when I was a kid. Yep. I still watch movies from the 80s because I like the Kardashians. I would not even know what they sound like.
Yeah.
Because it's no interest to me, because the only thing that I can really try to do is show my kids the way it used to be. Now, without me having that kind of knowledge until a couple years ago, and I'm being serious about that.
Yeah.
I'll admit to you flat out, looking back at the movies that I used to watch and all the racist stuff that, you know, that these movies had about black people and everything else, I saw those 90s, 2000s. But I haven't had any television, like I said, last 7 or 8 years. But now I'm watching YouTube and stuff like that. And I'm really getting the idea I'm racist. I was racist back then. It was a funny joke. But now I've had a chance to sit back and see how I want my kids to be. And it's not about black, white, Mexican, none of that, because we're all pink inside.
Absolutely.
Stop with the goddamn color. There's bad people every single color.
Yeah.
More colors get more emphasis on other colors, and it's all about a damn agenda. The agenda should be our kids give us a chance to be better than we were.
Amen.
That's it. That is not hard. I don't tell my kids about the crazy stuff that's going on. I tell my kids about we used to go into the store and buy a dozen eggs and go out egging houses and toilet paper. That was the worst thing we did when we were kids. You didn't want mom to catch you.
Right. Yep.
But, you know, we had fun. Teach your kids. Tell them what a drive-in movie theater used to be like. Those were a blast. The middle of the night, 10 years old, going to the concession stand. That was the greatest thing in the world. Yeah. Going back sucked. You didn't know where you were. One person could say, "Come on, honey, let's go find your mom and dad," and that's okay. But now you say that, and it's a felony.
Yeah,
I don't understand people anymore. And to be honest, I swear to God, you are actually the first time I've ever even talked to anybody on YouTube or anything. Swear to God, this is the first time.
Sure.
But I just, man,
I bet it felt good to get some of that out, right?
You know what? I talk to you just like I do 100 times a day to 100 people.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, I say the same exact stuff that I told you, all of it, because I don't need to change anything that I'm saying.
Right.
I don't have Mother's Day. My kids don't have Mother's Day. We have Mad Day, M-A-D. That's mom and dad.
Yeah.
So on that day, Mother's Day, it's Mad Day for us. Put 2 Christmas trees up for your children. not stick up for the stupid crap that your children do. Yeah, you want to protect them. But I'll tell you what, when we were kids, ride your bike down the street, fall off of it and skin your knee so you learn.
Yeah.
That's how we learned when we were kids. Make mistakes. But now there is no room for error.
It's
kids don't have a chance to be kids.
It's crazy that it's crazy that you said that, because I always just even go out in my neighborhood and I stand there out there on like a Saturday or Sunday midday, and there are no kids out. No one plays outside anymore. And it, it has a lot to do with, video games. It has a lot to do with television. It has a lot to do with, I always say this device right here. It's the most amazing, dangerous invention that's ever been put in our hand. It has completely changed society. I mean, Christ's sakes, I'm on YouTube. You guys are watching me on YouTube tonight. You're calling a YouTube show. It's
this
crazy.
is weird, man. I'm telling you.
It's weird that I do that. Go ahead, John. What were you gonna say?
Sir, first of all, what's your name? I'm sorry. What's your first name? Can I call you by
Excuse me?
What was your first name? Your first name. Can I call you by your first name? Can you hear me? Hello?
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 Can you hear John talking?
I don't know. Give me a try one more time, please.
Yep.
Can you hear me,
sir?
Okay.
My name's Ryan, by the way. I don't like informalities like that. My name's Ryan. I ain't old enough to be a Mr. or Sir, so
Well,
I'll go with Ryan.
I was asking you what your name was, so I can refer. So Ryan, I hear a lot of what you're saying, and today was my.
Hello, I'm still here.
Can you not hear me for some reason? Can you hear me, Ryan?
This is me and computers. They hate me.
Can you hear me, Ryan? Hello?
I don't know.
Hello?
I don't know what the hell is going on because I've never been on YouTube or heard any of this. So to me, I'm talking to you while you're sitting in your house. I'll answer any question you want. I'll tell you the truth. I shoot from the hip. I'll tell you anything you want.
Well, let me make a statement then, because you might not. You'll hear it when you play it back. So I'm going to make a statement. So,
hello? She kind of cut out on me again.
I have just tell them.
I can hear you now.
You can listen to what I said.
Yeah, go ahead. Make your statement. We'll go to the next call, but go ahead, John.
So I've got 5 kids, and my youngest is 15, and he turned 15 today. So I wrote on his card, and what Ryan was saying really rings true. Is I wrote on his card that I just appreciate the man he's become, his moral compass, his character. And that's the most important thing to me, that he has all those things. And I live vicariously through my son, as I have a lot of my children. And I feel like, Ryan is on the same page as me. And you're right, Brian, you held up that phone. And the problem today with our young people is they don't have what we have right here. Well, they do, but they don't have face-to-face dialogue.
Right.
So what's happened there? They've become desensitized to dialogue and debate and talking to people face-to-face. And that's why the suicide rate is so high, because they can't handle being bullied just with a text. So they commit suicide.
Yeah.
And we have become very desensitized. And I feel for that guy.
Let's take this. 902 in the house. This is LTL podcast. Who we got?
We got Vicky from Nova Scotia, Canada.
Hello, Vicky. How are you?
Hello.
I'm doing great. I just wanted to talk about a few things.
Sure.
So I think with the Carlee case, Carlee.
Yep. Carlee Russell.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of bad with names.
Okay.
And I was just thinking about first responders coming to her, and people, the first responders who have PTSD. I mean, every time you go to an incident, you have the PTSD, and you're kind of reliving, or you're feeling all these emotions, and it's for not a real case. I mean, assuming it's a hoax.
Right.
And then the first responders who are leaving their child's birthday dinner to go to a call.
Yeah.
You know, all the money and resources, you know. So I was just thinking about the first responders responding to a call like that, and, you know, it's not real, assuming it's a hoax, you know. And with Koberger, just switching to Koberger now.
Absolutely.
I'm, you know, 98% sure that it's him, but because I'm a Libra, the sign of the scales, I'm always going, you know, always leaving a little room for error. But, you know, I like your channel, of course, because it's, you know, we're looking at facts. And, you know, I'm so bad with rabbit holes. I'm always tripping down those rabbit holes. And so I can't be tripping down any more rabbit holes. So, yeah.
Vicky, let me ask you. Let me ask you. What is the? You said you leave yourself open in that case, like 2%. What is? No, and I'm not being a jerk, and I'm not challenging you. I just want to ask you, like, what is it? Because everybody says that, but they can never really give an answer behind it. What is it for you that leaves that kind of 2% open? I'd love to hear it.
Well, I think it's just my nature.
Okay.
I think it's just my personality mainly.
Sure.
I really don't have anything concrete to say. I think it's just my nature. And maybe that's people who are at that 98%, maybe that's their nature too. So maybe there's nothing really concrete that says, because of this and this and this, I feel that I think it's just people's personality.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the way you feel. I mean, I respect that. Absolutely. John, anything you want to say to fill in, or?
No, you covered it pretty well. I mean, it's yeah, I agree 100% what you're saying.
I guess I just feel like, I don't know, if he had alibi or something substantial, I think that it would have been brought out by now. But I think it's just my personality, that little tiny percentage that can't commit to 100%. I don't know.
Sure.
And something I've been noticing, and I actually talked to somebody about this lately, is a lot of YouTube channels don't cover Canadian cases. And we have a lot of cases in Canada where, you know, there's missing people or murder cases, and it's just not covered by YouTube channels. And, you know, it'd be kind of cool to throw in a little bit of Canadian content for Canadian viewers, because a lot of our cases, like of Canada versus the States, it's a huge difference, because American cases, as soon as there's a a case and a suspect, every stage of the game, it's all covered. But in Canada, we don't hear anything. It's just really hard to get information. There's just not a lot of coverage. So I think that would be kind of cool too. And I was also today, Dr. Henry Lee, I was reading up about him. He was found liable for fabricating evidence in a wrongful murder conviction. So I thought that was pretty interesting too.
Yeah. If everybody doesn't know who Dr. Henry Lee is, if you've seen the documentary on the Netflix series called The Staircase, a gentleman is it Michael Peterson? Michael Peterson is the topic of that conversation, of that documentary. And he was, I'm sorry?
Wasn't he the cop? He was the cop, right? Michael Peterson.
What's that?
No, he was a writer.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah, it was the blow poke, supposed blow poke killing. I have my thoughts on that. I probably should do a stream about it, but Vicky, we're gonna do this. We're gonna let you go because we're gonna wrap the show up because we're over 2 hours here, and I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah. I love the call-ins. It's great.
Hey, can I make a suggestion, Vicky?
Great, excellent show tonight, and you know, on the way to 10K.
Yeah, I appreciate
Hey,
that.
tell her, Brian, to
Okay,
send in some cases. Send cases to you.
Yeah, send those cases over, Vicky. We'll take a look at it. I think a lot of it is just, that stuff just doesn't get out here in the American media that
Well,
much.
the Royal Mounted and
they're very protective
the
up there.
Royal Mounted Canadian Police aren't the greatest in sharing intel.
Yeah.
I know that from experience. It was hard working with them on some cases. We had an arms case where we did that, so it was hard to talk to them. So I don't know if things have changed, but
maybe. I don't know. All right, DJ, we're gonna wrap this up. 2-hour banger tonight. I appreciate everybody coming over here on this Saturday. Excuse me, this Saturday evening. I don't have a traditional. Well, let's see if we got something here before we close out. I'm trying to do and I forgot to do it. Positive story for the day. Let's see. Positive story for the day. Let me pull something up here. All right. Do we want an animal story? How about a cute animal story before we end this up? I think this is a pretty good one. The missing cat. Cat missing for 5 weeks, found trapped beneath neighbors' floorboards after they hear meowing. And I'll read a little bit. It's called the Miracle Cat. Look at that beautiful green eyes. Holy shit. That's a pretty cat. The Miracle Cat, missing for 5 weeks, was found alive underneath a neighbor's floorboard. The Russian blue-eyed, overjoyed owners believe narrowly survived by eating spiders, bugs, and licking condensation from the pipes. Unbelievable. Arthur lost half the body weight trapped in the English home, and he was only discovered when his neighbors heard distressed meowing and pulled from the floorboards. So
awesome.
looks like, yeah, Arthur's back home. His beautiful cat, beautiful green eyes. And I thought we would end on this. I know it's not a true crime positive story, but it's a pet
hey, Brian,
story.
one thing for everyone to think about.
Sure.
You know, one case that comes to mind that kind of reminds me of what we're covering in this show tonight is, remember when I said fight or flight, you're in panic mode? What case in your mind, and it's not that old of a case, comes to mind of, and I'll give you a hint, of a mother who did that. And she was in Florida. She was in Orlando. Casey Anthony.
Oh, I was Casey Anthony. Yeah,
So,
I was just gonna say that.
And my theory on that case is Carlee drowned. I think that Casey was out partying. She was sleeping all day. Carlee got out and got in that pool and drowned, and she went into panic mode.
Yeah.
That is a prime example of fight or flight, panic mode situations. And I think that, stuff like this that we're covering today is kind of what she felt. She was an absolute, and look at the stories that she constructed. I mean, she took investigators all the way there to Universal Studios, like she was working there, and she hadn't worked there in years. Just something to think about.
Well, let's end this one. We're over 2 hours. See if I got this right. Oh, I did it right this time. That's DJ. I'm Brian. This is the Let's Talk Live podcast. We got episode 38 in the bank. I'm going to be back here tomorrow night. I'm sure there's going to be 9 million Koberger streams tomorrow night. But if you find it in your heart to come over and hang out with me, I would love that. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do have a long day at work tomorrow, but I will be back and reporting on the Koberger case and hear what this mystery alibi is going to be. I'm going to hit the brand new outro. Let me know what you guys think. And if you're watching this on replay, #replay down there in the comments. I appreciate it. DJ, any parting words?
Glad you got to see me.
Yeah, man. We're out of here. Bye.